Hey guys, it's Captain Muffin here, and today we're going to be putting Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 and 2024 head to head to see which one is right for you. So how this video is going to work is we're going to compare the two simulators in a bunch of different categories, and we'll see who comes out on top in each category. We'll tally all the points together, and in the end I'll determine which simulator is the best for you. So starting things off, let's just start with the easiest category, which is price. So at the moment, the standard edition of Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 comes in at $29.99. It's currently on sale. I think the normal price is $59.99. And then Microsoft Flight Simulator 24 is on sale for $62.99 at the moment in the Microsoft shop. So this is just the prices for the standard edition. I wouldn't really recommend getting anything other than the standard edition because I feel like that extra money would be better spent going towards some third-party add-ons that are really gonna make the experience better. But if there is a plane that you really want from the Premium Deluxe or the Deluxe versions, then I would definitely go for it. So, considering that comparison, Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 wins the price category, so we're going to go ahead and put a tally on the board for 2020. Moving on, we have install size. So, for 2020, install size is pretty big. We're looking at 150 gigabytes. For 2024, the install size is a lot smaller. It's only 30 gigabytes, and that's because all of the scenery, all the world scenery, and all of the aircraft as well are all streamed from the cloud. So install sizes will be smaller, but this comes with some other problems. So in the future, Microsoft is going to allow you to download all the content from 2024 onto your computer, and that is going to bump the install size up to 250 gigabytes, which is a lot. You're going to need a lot of storage if you are looking to do that. But because this is optional, you only have to download 30 gigabytes. I'm going to give the price category to Flight Sim 2024. So for recommended specs, this is where things really get a bit complicated because it's not just a numbers by numbers comparison. So the recommended specs for 2020, you're looking at an i5 8400, a GTX 970, 4 gigabytes of VRAM, 16 gigabytes of RAM, and about a 20 megabytes per second internet connection. And then the ideal specs for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, for the best experience, you're looking at an i7 9800X, an RTX 2080, 8 gigabytes of VRAM, 32 gigabytes of RAM, and about a 50 megabytes per second internet connection. So those are the recommended and ideal specs for 2020. So for 2024, the recommended, you're looking at an i7 10700K, an RTX 2080, 8 gigabytes of VRAM, 32 gigabytes of RAM, and 50 megabytes per second internet connection. So the ideal specs for 2020 are the recommended specs for 2024. So that's where we see the jump up. The recommended specs for 2024 is going to give you an ideal experience on 2020. So 2024 requires better hardware for a similar experience. And then the ideal specs for 2024, which we did not get into yet, is the i7 14700K, RTX 4080, 12 gigabytes of VRAM, 64 gigabytes of RAM, and you're going to need a very fast 100 megabytes per second internet connection. So internet connection is very important. If you don't have a good internet connection, I would definitely steer you away from 2024 because since all the content is streamed, you're going to need a really solid connection to be able to load everything in. Otherwise, simulator is just going to look really bad, like a muffin. It's not going to be good. So because you need lower specs, worse hardware is able to run 2020, I'm going to give the point for specs. It goes to 2020. As far as scenery, Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 definitely looks better than 2020. but there is some problems as far as the streaming goes, because like I have played both simulators, and when 2024 works, it looks a lot better, but more often than not it does not work, and like the scenery textures just don't load in and it looks terrible. But just because the potential is there, and when it does work it's far better than 2020, I'm gonna go ahead and give the scenery category to 2024. So moving on, looking at graphics, 2024 definitely has the better graphics. It has a new lighting engine, new weather engine. Of course, the graphics in 2020 are not bad at all. Like, you can just look at where I'm flying right now. The clouds look decent, the sky looks decent. Definitely nothing to complain about, but 2024 really takes them to the next level. And for that reason, they get the points in the graphics category. Now, when you look at aircraft, 2024 offers lots more aircraft. So in the standard edition of the 2020 Flight Simulator, only features 29 aircraft, but we see a big jump up when we look at 2024, has 70 default aircraft. It includes all the ones from 2020 as well as some additional ones. Some notable ones are the AnyBuild's A330, which is really good. Probably the best default aircraft we've seen for the Microsoft Flight Simulators. There's also the, I'm not sure, it might also be in AnyBuild's, the A321, there's the Airbus Beluga, and there's the Boeing 737 MAX 8. There's some more aircraft, bigger selection. 2024 will take the category for aircraft. So moving on, the next category is stability, and this is a very important category because your simulator might have better graphics and scenery and aircraft, but it doesn't matter if you can't even play the game, if it's just crashing its desktop, or you encounter bugs that make the game pretty much unplayable. And that is a lot of stuff that we see from 2024. Lots of bugs, lots of crashed desktops. You might notice that I'm filming this video, the background video, in 2020 because 2024 is just so unstable that I can't even film like a 10-minute or 15-minute video without encountering some kind of bug or some kind of crash. And my system is not bad at all, my PC is not bad at all. They really shouldn't be having this many issues, but the simulator is pretty unfinished, to be honest, but hopefully it's gonna get better in the coming months as they update it. They've already made a few patches that have fixed some issues, but stability, since it's such a big category, I'm gonna give it to 2020, and I'm gonna give them 3 points because if your simulator is not stable, then nothing else really matters because it becomes an unplayable experience. So 3 points goes to 2020. As far as performance, you could probably guess this from the recommended specs that we looked at, but 2020 will give you better performance for your hardware. On Xbox, I believe 2020 also runs better. I've tested them both on Xbox. So pretty easy, 2020 gets the points for performance. As far as the flight model and physics, so I have tried both simulators, of course, and 2024 I felt there was a lot more turbulence. It felt like what it would actually feel like to fly a real airplane, and when the rest of the simulator is working great, it's a great bonus. I feel like the physics is something that people complained a lot about in 2020, and they've definitely addressed lots of the problems in 2024. There's things like wake turbulence, we just feel normal turbulence as well, and you can really feel how like the air interacts with the aircraft. So physics, I'm going to give the points to 2024. So our final categories, looking towards the future, will this be a good investment? So 2020 is going to get support for initial four years until 2028. That is what Asobo and Microsoft have promised us, and if that's the case, that will be amazing. 2028 is a long time away from now, and I'm sure you'll be able to get lots of usage. The simulator still has lots ahead of it. I'm sure we're going to see more add-ons, more third-party add-ons, more content updates from Microsoft, and overall the sim is just going to keep getting more stable. Performance is going to be more optimized, and we're going to see a lot more content. So 2020 is still a great option for the future, but we have to look at what 2024 has the potential it has. So it has lots of stuff going for it at the moment, but because of stability issues, it's not really been a great experience. But as stability is kind of worked out in the next few months, it's going to be a far better simulator than 2020. So looking towards the future, I'm going to give the points to 2024. 2020 is still a great option for the time being, and 2024 is not great to play right now, but in the future I can see it easily surpassing what 2020 was able to accomplish. So we've reached the end of all of our categories. We can see that there is a tie between the two simulators. This is something that I did not really expect, but also expected a little bit. But the summary I can give you guys is that if you want probably the most stable, there's lots of content, which is good for the money simulators, I would go for 2020. If you're looking to quote-unquote invest in something that is not fully finished, but once it's finished it'll be far better than 2020, you're not going to have the best experience now, but give it a few months and it's definitely going to be up there. And also you have to have a pretty good system to run 2024 comfortably. So if you have a nice PC, I'm not sure if it runs incredibly on Xbox, but if you have a good system, good hardware, you have some extra money to spend, and you're willing to put your money towards something that's not going to be great at the moment, but will be in the future, then I'd recommend 2024. These simulators, they're both great, and I would get both of them if I could. I mean, I have both of them at the moment, just because of Game Pass, which is another option. It's a very good one as well. You won't actually own the simulators, but you can pay the subscription, and you can play both of them. They probably won't leave Game Pass since they're both Microsoft games, so I'd definitely look into that. But overall, that is my verdict. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.